Hello, welcome back. This is Jeff Byers, and this is part 2 of our sci-fi map baking. This is kind of an updated version of our sci-fi high poly bake to the low poly. So I'm using the latest version of Substance Painter, I believe. Let me look into help and. Where are we with this version? I'm 8.1.2, build 1782. So that's the build I'm using. I'm going to go to File, New. All right, the first thing I'm going to do is open up my object. Make sure that I've got it set up to my hard drive. And here's my weapon, and I should have it under scenes. And I'm gonna, this is hard for me to see, so I'm gonna make these small icons. And let's see here. All right, so we are going to do the low poly test SP. That's why we rename them. Let's open up the low poly. And we're gonna wanna start with ASM PBR metallic roughness starter assets. We're going to do 2048, and we're going to do use UV tile workflow, convert UV tiles into individual texture sets legacy. And that looks pretty good. Click OK, and that should bring that in. And you can see everything's looking good. All right, so and then what we want to do is we want to pull this down, and you can see that I've got 17 shells, and every time I click on one, you can see you can move that around here, and you can move this around. Okay, and I've got my materials over here, and my texture sets are here. I got 1002, 1003, and all the way down. You can see how the UVs are laid out. Okay, so if I select this, I can go ahead and add. You can add directly to the UTMs, which is really nice. You can just drag and drop. We're going to do that right now. We're going to go ahead and do our bake. So let's go to Edit and Bake Mesh Maps. And we're going to go to 2048, and we're going to use a high poly. Now, if for some reason that you get all kinds of problems and issues with the high poly, you can click on use low poly mesh as high poly mesh. Okay, it'll bake on top of each other. You're not going to get the really nice look that you would having a high poly. That's why we went to all the trouble of doing that. So anyway, if you run into issues and you can't use the high poly, then definitely use the low poly, and that will help. That will allow you to use the smart materials. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and click on my high poly. Okay, so here's my high poly. Open. We'll set this up. We're not going to use a cage. We're going to use frontal distance of 0.5 and hit enter. And then 0.5 and then enter. Everything else looks really good. You don't have to worry. You can ignore all the rest of this stuff. And then we don't need world space normal. We don't need ID. Okay. Ambient occlusion, curvature, position, and thickness will help us get the edge wear that we want to see with the texture. So with the smart materials. So we need to have those. We've got over 85 textures, so this might take a little while, so I'll pause the video and then we'll come back. All right, I'm going to click on Bake Selected Textures. As you can see, it's going through them, and I'm going to go ahead and pause the video. Okay, it looks like everything's all right. I'm going to click OK. And we got some serious issues with this one right here. I'm not too worried about it. Because there's some things I can do to get rid of that mess. The other side baked just fine. I don't know what the deal is that you get some weird stuff like that. The rest of it looks good. We got that nice detail here. We've got shadowing. We got normal map shadows here. We can take care of those. We've got normal map shadows on the back, which I knew was going to happen. That's the worst because that's a huge gap right there. And we've got a normal shadow here. And we got also ambient occlusion shadows. That's what that means. And I think I was talking to you guys about that in class. So we can take care of all that stuff right now. So we need to isolate the base right here from the rest and get rid of the normal map. And unfortunately, if I do that, I'm going to get harsher edges here, but that's okay. You know, it's going to be a low poly anyway, and when I texture it, you won't even see it. So there's some things we can do to fix this to make it look a lot better. Okay, the first thing we need to do is isolate and find out where everything is, and then take it from there. Now, another thing you could do is you could export all the maps out, the normal map and the ambient occlusion map out into Photoshop and clean them up yourself. That's another way of doing it, but I just prefer to take care of it here and then texture it and see how it looks, and if I need to go further, then I can. Okay, so let's go ahead and isolate everything and then find out where we're at. So I'm just going to kind of go through everything to find out where these pieces are that are causing the issue. Okay, so I've got that. I got 1001. Okay, all right. So I'm looking for the base right through here. And so I'm going to go to the bottom and go up, and there it is. It's the very last one. So I select the base. Okay, you can see all the stuff that's on there basically the normal map baked on top, causing a shadow right here. So those two things. We're going to click on texture set settings, okay? And we can see that if I scroll down, let me see if I can move this up or down. Let's see, move this up so I can see it better. There we go. And I'm going to scroll down. You can see I've got my normal map, all right? And I've got my ambient occlusion. Now, the minute I turn that off, this is what I want to do. I want to turn that off. It's gone forever until you bake the maps again, okay? You can't just turn it off and on. So once you click on the X, it's gone, okay? So I'm going to click off that and see, you can see that it helped a lot right there, okay? And then I'm going to turn off the ambient occlusion, and then that gets rid of all the issues right there. Now, we have an issue with this. This is really, really bad. This baked out really bad. I probably should go back and find out what the heck's going on with that, but I'm just going to fix it for now. Okay, and the way I fix it worked just fine. So I just need to find that part. So I'm going to pull this down again. Okay, I'm going to find that piece right there. Okay, so I'm just going to go through them, and I think the panels are up here. There we go. There's the one right there. So I'm going to click on 1003. See, there's where all the issues are. This one baked out great. I don't know what the problem is with that, but I'm just going to turn off the normal map. So I'm going to shut it down. And that takes care of most of it, and then I'm going to shut down the ambient occlusion, and that's all of it. Now again, yeah, I lose my beautiful little edge there, but it's okay because once I texture it, the rest of it looks really good, and I can sacrifice that one piece. Okay, that's all right, no problem there. So we're really cleaning this up. You can see that in the back, we still have those issues here. Okay. So if we're really worried about that, which I don't like, okay, then we can take the normal map and the ambient occlusion off of those as well, okay? Now there's some issues right here, but once we texture, you won't see that anyway. And you may texture this, you may texture the whole thing and find out that that's not really a big deal. But it's pretty bad for mine, and I think I'm going to take care of it right now. So I'm going to go ahead and find out where that piece is. There it is. Okay, but I need to find the back piece. It's not this piece it's causing the issue. It's the back piece that's accepting the issue. So I'm going to go in here. I think that's it. That's the piece right there. Okay, so I basically have to get rid of the bake on these. Okay, you can see that's where the bake is right here. You can zoom in, and you can see there's the problem right there. So we've got to get rid of the normal map. Let's try the ambient occlusion first. Yeah, it's the normal map too. So let's go back in there to the normal map, take care of that. There it is. All right, it's sad because it kind of takes care of the roundness, but again, I think the texturing will be helpful with that. Okay. All right, we got that little issue right here, but I think I'm okay with that. I can live with that little piece right there. Okay. So I think the rest of it looks good. So we got it cleaned up to where we can go ahead and start texturing this. Okay. All right, so that's it. That's how you can clean stuff up. If you want a perfect bake, it's going to take you a while, and you're going to have to separate some stuff, and I'll show you that in the next video. But right now, I'll show you what I finished, what I got done. And you're going to want to go into your smart materials right here. And the ones that I used, okay, and messed with the most was, let's go ahead and bring this up to a larger area. And I went with the steel painted roughs, the steel painted clear coat, I think that's what it is. But the steel painted gun are the ones that are the best, and they look really good. If you want painted chipped colors, you could add that and change the color yourself if you want to. So I'll kind of give you a rough, just kind of do it real quick. So I've got steel gun painted, steel gun matte that I use, and you can use medieval stylized. We've also got steel painted roughs. So I'll show you what those look like. So you can just drag and drop them on any piece that you want and get an idea what they look like. Rotate around, and you can see that they look pretty good. Okay. All right, so it gives you wear and tear. Let's put it on something that will really show up really good. So gun painted. There we go. And you can see that we've got some wear and tear on the top there. It looks really good, and you can scale that in if you want to. Okay. So you just have to play around. Here's a red. You can see how that looks. And if we go into our layers, let's see if we open that up in our paint layer. Let's see if we can find that. There it is. There's our base color, and we can change that color any way. I don't like bright red's okay, but I really try to oxidize the paint a little bit. So it's not so bright. Okay, so that just looks really, just doesn't look good. So I'm going to bring that down a little bit. So always, if you go with a bright color, it's going to look odd. It won't look realistic. So always oxidize. Try to oxidize the paint by dulling it a little bit. All right, steel painted rough. See how that looks. You just kind of got to test things and see how they look. That one looks pretty cool. And you have to open up the folder to kind of get the idea and the base colors. Some of them have base colors, some of them don't. So just be aware of that. Some, like the reason why I showed you the steel painted is because you can change the colors on that, which is kind of fun. All right, what did I end up with? Let me go ahead and open up my, let's go ahead and discard that. I'll show you what I ended up with. Go to the bottom and open that up so you can see my finished piece. I like blue, and I like add a little splash of color. Okay, and I actually put some decals on there, so that was a lot of fun. Okay, that's it, and I will see you next time. Hopefully, you'll have a good time, have fun texturing your weapon, sci-fi weapon, and experiment, have fun, and just keep trying to get a decent looking result. And then what I probably want you to do this time, I want you to make sure that you go ahead and give me a screenshot in Substance Painter. And if you're using Windows, you can just hit the S key snipping tool and click on under mode, go to rectangular snip, and just kind of take a screenshot of this. Okay, like that. All right, and then go to File, and then save that. Just save it to your desktop, and just put your first and last name, and just call it SP image 01, something like that. Save that out, and then you can close that. And then let's go ahead and rotate to the back, like that. So you get a nice look at the back. Okay, something like that view. Do the same thing. Let's hit the S key and go to snipping tool. And then go ahead and give me a screenshot of that. All right, so let me find the one I just did here. There we go. And we'll just put number 2 on the end of this. There we go. Save. Okay. Close that up and make sure you save your work. So I'm going to go ahead and get this, zoom out a little bit like that. Maybe show off the side of it like that. All right. Do one more snippy. Okay. Here we go. And this is just to protect myself in case I can't get a good render. At least you can get me, you'll get points taken off, but at least I can grade you on that, and you can prove that you actually did the texturing. All right. This will save you if you can't get the textures to work in Maya, or you can't get the render to work or something. At least you won't have a lot of points taken off, because if you don't give me anything, you can't show that you've actually got textures on there, then I'm going to have a hard time grading you appropriately. So make sure you give me some screenshots of your texturing. So basically front perspective, right? Back perspective, and then maybe the side view so I can see. I don't need to see the other side. That's good. Okay, now make sure you go to File, Save Scene As, or Save As, and this is your actual Substance Painter file. So you always want to keep that, okay, in case something goes wrong. So I'm going to call that SP Weapon, and then TX, okay. Make sure you, I'm going to place mine on the desktop. It's easy to find. All right, save it. And you're finished. You just need to bring everything into Maya so you can get a nice render. You need to create a background, a floor, and 2 walls. You need to make it look really nice. You need to be able to see all the highlights and stuff, and get it as close to this as you possibly can. And get the lighting really nice. So that's your next step. And if you need help, watch some other older videos of how I light items, and take it from there. So that's it, and good luck with everything, and hope you had fun with texturing, and then you just need to export all the pieces out. So we'll do that real quick. I haven't showed you that yet. Export textures. So we've got all the Udemy tiles. This is going to be a big file, so make sure you have 102 textures. That's a lot. So make sure you have a lot of room. Where do you want to put it? That's really important. So you need to find a folder or a spot for these, and hopefully it's in your source images folder of your texture. So I'm not going to do this, but I'll set it up. So I need to find my folder and put it in under source images. Okay, do that. Find your folder, your project folder, and get it under source images. I'm not going to do this. So select folder, and that'll put it up in there. And then you want to do PBR metallic roughness, PNG. Everything else is good. Dilation infinite. We'll just leave that as default. Output templates, we need to have Arnold Udemy Legacy AI standard for it to work properly. Okay. List of exports, that's good. We're not going to use the height map, so don't worry about that. We're going to use the base color. We're not going to use emissive. So it's base color, metallic, normal, and roughness. The rest of them are it's just going to come with it. there's a ton of textures here, 102. So it's going to be a lot of baking. Okay, go back to the settings and export. So you click on that and it'll go through the whole process. Let it go through the whole process, and make sure you then you know where the textures are, and then start applying them in Maya. Okay? All right. Talk to you later. Have a good day, and I hope you have fun. And I can't wait to see what you guys come up with your sci-fi weapon. All right?